this game. But there is a version difference between the US and Japan. Like, for the most part, the gameplay itself is identical, as we are apparently about to see.
They are going.
But subtle differences in the US version. I think your score text is a little different. It's a little shinier. And on the Japanese version, there actually are some crosses on Coffin's late game, not to mention the green slide of stage 8 is actually blood. But here we are, it's stage 1. We're in the courtyard. I mean, there's a lot of games that use a mechanic like this, so you're going to be picking up on it right away, where they are jumping to attack rather than kind of standing still and getting stuck in an animation for a moment. You also see them jumping up and down here. Stage 1 is so optimized, really the whole game's getting optimized at this point. But you see them jumping on the backside of skeleton heads just to get damage boost further, using their health as a resource here. And right away on screen 3, you've got the cross. So the way the sub-weapons actually work in this game, you know, obviously you have your small hearts, you spend them to use as ammunition for the sub-weapon, but I think it's every 10 hits you get with a sub-weapon. If you have at least 8 hearts, the next candle that would have otherwise dropped a small heart will instead drop a multiplier. Did Furious Paul get the clip? I think he might have. He was the one screen I didn't see it. See the swing mechanics there. There's a very small window to clip through the stairs there. It saves just a few seconds. Nothing huge, but I mean, hey, save the frames, right?
Not the animals.
Not the animals.
So you can see Furious Paul whipping the horses' heads. He's not saving any animals here.
Very true. Those horse heads in the stable, you know, they're just annoying. Everybody is already up to that triple multiplier, though. There are some points in the game, I'm sure players know, you can usually find like a multiplier caught in the wall. Although if you either don't have a sub-weapon or already have the triple, that's where you get your wall meat. Oh man, every time they pick up some meat in this level, I'm remembering I've got chicken drumsticks right in front of me right now. But, oh man, what's up, JC? How's it going?
Oh, it's going alright.
You gotta correct me when I'm wrong on something, because I don't remember this boss's name. I just know he's free.
This one's Rodane.
So free.
Very free. Most of the bosses are extremely free with this triple cross.
This one, even though, is like as free as it looks.
Oh yeah.
And all you really have to focus on is getting a nice pose at the end.
Did you just
go ahead?
Did you discuss mechanics about how to get the triple?
A little bit. The 10 hits, I think it is, on items, and then as long as you have 8 hearts, you start getting multipliers, right?
Correct.
Hey, I do still remember something about this game. Stage 2. I mean, right now, it's a lot of just make sure you have crosses on the screen and just kill things and dodge things as you can. The nice thing about the crosses, of course, being, you know, they do go the length of the screen. They don't come back until they hit the right edge, even as you're moving forward. 2-2, I think the neat thing about this stage, I didn't know growing up you could jump on the water.
Oh yeah.
So about halfway through the screen, you're going to start to see them get off the platforms and just get in the water. At this point, the trick is just avoid the frogs.
Yep, and on all 4 runners, they have placements to just deal with every enemy in the game. Some of the crosses that you'll see later on are just merely to time things as well. They look rather useless. But everything has a lot of strict timing throughout the run.
And the big thing here, you saw everybody kind of jump over the candle. Like you're saying, this run is routed out to perfection almost. And you really don't want to get a dagger. As much as the Rodane fight was as easy as it looks, this Medusa fight is even easier than it looks.
Yep, and then you'll notice that all four runners are doing boost all over the place to get everywhere. So they never want to see any extra hits anywhere.
And especially in this section here with the current pushing you along.
Oh yeah.
Just don't take extra hits. Ride the water as much as you can. And, don't jump into the spikes either.
Yep, they've got this stage and next stage at certain points, so you have 1 health left.
Huh. I feel almost bad sometimes the way you treat your video game character's health. It's just another resource.
Oh yeah.
They don't need that. They've got 1 left. You're good.
Yep, stage 3. It's one of the first hard stages of the speed run. There's a lot of nice small tricks. You saw a little. Then I wasn't around to see if any of the runners did the clip-ins in the first stage, but we'll start seeing what's called the ring glitch. So basically, whenever you latch onto a ring, Simon will just wants to push away from it. And then they'll use that on this vertical climb coming up, they'll just snap up and then they'll be able to just hop on to the next level without taking an extremely long detour.
That's true. 3-2 has the first instance of that.
Yep. And then all the runners, they basically don't want to be leaving this first screen with more than 2 hits, so they can do all the boosts that they want to do. But all 4 runners, they've got backups on what they're going to do depending on how they end the first screen.
And you can see the second screen even opens up immediately with a damage boost up onto another platform. Paul going for that ring glitch on the first ring. Is that the first screen? He's further up the screen than I think he is.
Yeah, he's a little bit further. And then 2K's just a little bit behind. All 4 runners still pretty close to each other.
Two-Cat and Paul really close to each other. Joe maybe a second behind. TMR still very much within range.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of damage boosts, eye boost.
Yep, and then we all thought when Paul first got his sub 32 that he's pulled off all the craziest strats that you can pull off. And then 2Cat comes by a few months later and takes it even further. Oh, Paul took a death. Yep, and then that was unfortunate. That merman was just in the way, so you can't really get the movement you want out of that. Unfortunately for him, there's a cross right there, and it's really no big deal to get his triple by the time he gets to the next boss.
Yeah, almost more important than. I mean, if you are going to take a death, the one thing you want to make sure is where is your next cross going to be.
Yep, at where the rest of the runners are, if they took a death, they won't see another cross until stage 5.
So Twin Viper, just another instance of get those crosses in the right position. Twin Viper is probably the first boss where it's not quite as easy as it looks to get the kill. And you can see TMR even is needing to get a few extra hits from another location.
Yeah. And then they're one of the few bosses where some of the hitboxes can be a little bit wonky at times. So things have to be almost pixel perfect when you throw, and frame perfect. I mean, it's not quite that tight, but it's pretty tight.
Yeah, obviously any damage you get is good. Stage 4, kind of neat in that there's 2 bosses in it. 2Cat able to grab the meat there without falling off the flipping platforms. Not the biggest risk in the world, just one of those little things. And what's the name of this boss? He plays Final Fantasy.
Yep, we have our favorite Final Fantasy runner Plexel right here. Afterwards, he's known as Licks You Up.
And then it's on to the SNES showcase screen.
Not much to say about this rotating room. Basically, in this game, they wanted to show off some of the few fancy features you can pull off in some of these games. Some of the different chips.
It's Castlevania 4, I think. Not actually a release title, but maybe like a week 2 title.
Something like that.
You can see it takes a really long time. You just wait for this room to rotate. You do get the neat strats like what TMR is doing here, just for swag.
Oh yeah.
Just don't go for too much swag.
Yep. And then welcome to the Mode 7 room. This is a room where the smallest mistake actually costs a lot more time than you think it would. Every skeleton that you end up destroying causes a whole lot of lag. And you really want to move through this room in a really particular manner. Any mistakes will start to cause extra skeletons to spawn that you just have to deal with, and you won't quite know where they're going to be coming from.
Just get through the lag screen. Now,
coming up on 2Cat's side, he's getting ready to set up for the zip. Not a whole lot to say about it that can be explained. Basically, they want to spawn that bat at a particular time, and then they get hit just as it's about to crush Simon.
in all the races between these top runners I've watched, I don't think I've seen anybody miss the clip. 2Cat, I've seen that situation where the bat knocks them back out of the clip on the other side. That's why they throw those two more crosses to try and kill that bat on the back return trip. Joe D'Amelio, I think, actually did get crushed. And Furious Paul is now going to go for it. TMR skipped it.
And Paul's got it. Nice.
Got it. We saw the little flame for another bat dying. So TMR playing it safe is actually not in the lead. I thought he might have caught all the way up. But he's at least even with Joe, probably further ahead by virtue of having a cross.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there is technically another cross Joe could have grabbed in this section, except it forces you to go through the entire vertical section and come back. And then even then, you won't get more than a double for this boss. So he'll just do whip only, which really isn't that slow for this one, for this fight.
The ton of rock is not that hard.
Also known as Coronaut.
These boss names.
Okay. Coming up for all the runners, we have the timer boss.
This is what, 200 in-game seconds, the shortest timer you get the entire game.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Main thing that they're worried about is hoping they don't have a million harpy spawn.
Which they will.
I forgot what their actual record is on how many spawned in just the screen.
I didn't know we kept track of that sort of thing.
Only if it's really bad. Normally you only see 3 to 5.
The big thing this entire stage is just make sure you have enough health to survive 5-2.
Yep. And
5-2 I think has like the troll meat, because there's one candle, and I think there's only 2 bats after it, after the meat candle.
Oh, that's literally the last bat right after that meat.
Not even 2.
Yep. And then another big thing that they want to do is enter stage 6 with as much hearts as possible, because they're going to be using that a lot in this stage, the crosses.
Stage 6, the first stage actually within Dracula's castle. So one of the minor things you note here, enemies start having twice as much health as they used to. Everybody gets a little bit of a power-up except Simon. Although 2Cat's already in the most clench-worthy section of the game.
Yeah, let's see how he goes. If he gets the one cycle. While he's running, they practice this a whole lot, so they're pretty good at and consistent with it. And he. Oh! Couple pixels off.
All the way back to the beginning of 6-1.
Oh yeah, and then he doesn't get across until after the chandeliers.
Yeah.
And where it's located isn't too bad because you don't really need the cross until then.
So Paul and Joe are through. TMR playing it a little safe, but he's through.
Then I actually missed if they got the one cycle, if they played it safe and went for 2.
I think Joe and Paul got the 1. I didn't see if they skipped any cycles earlier, but I know they made the last jump.
If they're gonna miss a cycle, it's gonna be the very last one.
Yeah. Saw all the runners there also. Earlier it was don't get the dagger. In 6-2 it's don't get the axe. There is a secret room in 6-2 to get some stuff. We'll see if 2Cat goes to it.
Oh, he's definitely going to it. Next cross is not until stage 7, the first screen. The next 2 rooms that Paul and Joe are going to be going through, the timing on the crosses and just how they can just move through it, it just looks so amazing when executed properly.
I think Paul is now on the Hellway.
Oh yeah.
Nice. This next room that Joe and Paul have been going through here, just don't get caught by the hands, and those flashing skeletons never really spawn.
But all the runners will be going for quick coffins. Basically, so another mechanic that we haven't really discussed yet is so normally if you just whip, Simon keeps his whip out for quite a while before it disappears. But if you wait till it extends, then you tap a different direction really fast and then release your whip button, you'll be able to have full control of Simon again pretty quickly. And that's pretty much required in order to get that coffin strap.
So what's the name of this dancing couple?
I actually forgot right now.
I want to say one of them was Paula Abdul.
And Fred Astaire. Scare.
Fred's the name I always forget. For once, I'm not the one making the bad puns.
You just repeat them.
Oh, I'll repeat a pun all day.
All day.
All day. So this is the library. 7-1. I don't think there's anything all that notable about 7-1 except its length.
Yeah.
There is a cross near the very end, but for the most part, this is navigate all the Axe Knights, don't die. This vertical screen, technically still also part of 7-1, is just sort of whee! Go down on the left side as much as you can.
Yeah, basically the only real thing that they worry about is not taking too much extra damage, because they're going to be boosting all over the place the rest of the stage. Oh, Paul missed the book.
Yeah, the 2-frame jump. Joe gets it.
Joe gets it. Joe has a really nice setup.
Is TMR going?
He got it.
TMR made the jump. Paul's gonna go with an axe, it looks like.
He didn't like how he killed that red skeleton. Since they do respawn and you have to wait for that final book, if you kill him at the wrong time, he can just boost you right off the edge of the screen again.
So the big thing in the second half of the library, I mean, just make sure you don't get knocked up into the spikes by these bumps, and keep an eye out for which one of these library portraits are more than they seem. I don't think there's any more boomerangs for Paul to pick up here.
Nope, he's not going to get until second screen of 8-2 of stage 8. And it's actually going to hurt him a whole lot throughout the rest of the run. Well, not the run, but this stage, and he won't be able to do any fast cycles on the first screen of 8.
I'm a little confused by Paul going for that meat. Joe, though, has already taken out the boss of this stage.
Yeah, Paul wanted a little bit of extra damage so he can boost through the last 2 screens, and without a cross, Sir Dracula does get a bit scary.
TMR actually had a little bit. He's got 3 health left. I don't think he could have taken any more hits.
Yeah, one more hit would have killed him right there.
But he's through to where the game really begins.
Stage 8. It's an extremely fun stage once you get it down consistent, and
Why do you have to lie to the viewers like that? Stage 8 is terrible.
that's where one's gonna die.
We were talking a little about Japanese-US version differences earlier. There's one more coffin you'll see in Stage 9 that has a cross on it. And of course, Stage 8 is bright red now instead of green. It's just full of spikes.
Oh yeah. Fortunately, spikes don't kill you if you're in middle. If you have iframes.
Good old iframes. They never let you down.
Never.
Paul there actually making use of the fact the blood actually does hurt you, even though you can jump along it, so you can get some iframes from it to go through.
Oh yeah.
The skull shooting pillars.
Yep, and then it only does 2 bars of damage instead of 3, like every other possibility in that little section. Paul's gonna be getting his cross on that collapsing bridge.
Joe going through this little section here. He did get a blood boost earlier. He jumped into where he knew there was going to be a...
And he goes for Vegas, and he gets it.
Oh my god, that bridge. That bridge is by no means consistent. There's a reason it's called the Vegas Bridge. TMR is going to study the bridge.
Yeah, basically if you wait out that first cycle, it's fairly consistent to make it across.
And Frankenstein, or at least the monster, is also really easy. Even if you don't have the crosses to throw, just get in his face and whip straight up. You'll take out his potions. He'll never really get the chance to move. Easy fight, easy life.
Yep. Did Paul die again?
I don't know if Paul did.
I'm surprised he doesn't have at least a double at this
Now
point.
he died.
Now he did.
Oh man. He might have just not had time to build it up. Oh, 2Cat crosses the bridge. Anyway, Joe's actually making his way pretty deep into the treasury at this point. The gold gilded skeletons and everything. The lag platforms falling apart underneath you. I'm trying to think if there's anything like overly noteworthy in the first half of the treasury, or if it's just that we eventually get to the room.
It's basically try to hop over those collapsing treasure chests, try to destroy as little as possible. There's a lot of lag that comes from them.
TMR almost actually getting knocked back by a skeleton into the abyss. What's happening to Paul?
Not sure.
Did he get sent back again?
Not sure if he decided to go for Vegas Bridge or something.
I mean, Stage 8, like we said, can be just a place where runs go to die.
Alright, Joe took the falling blocks in 9 safe.
Goes past the opening that does go to a secret room if you need something.
And Paul's got this. Alright, let's see what string TMR goes for. Just for the boost as well. Not sure if 2Cat's going to be going for the boost on those blocks, or because I believe he's got a fairly consistent strat to do basically a pixel perfect jump.
Joe up to the boss of stage 9, treasure bat.
Yep.
Every time you hit it, the extra gold coins come flying out of it. Those do damage, but of course if you just hit them again, you stop the original set.
Meanwhile, 2Cat does a pretty insane jump. He has a nice setup on it, so he doesn't have to wait for a second cycle of blocks to fall. Not a whole lot to say about that Zap Bat fight. You want to hit him 23 times, then he breaks up into 3 smaller bats. You do want to have him destroyed about halfway down the screen or lower, so you can just unleash your crosses on him.
Mm-hmm. Stage A, because we ran out of room for double-digit numbers. I don't think I've seen someone try and go for a jump over that pillar before.
Paul doesn't.
TMR ran into some trouble because he just picked up a double multiplier.
Yeah. Really clean fight from 2Cat. Not a whole lot to say about Stage A quite yet. In the screen after this that Joe's in, he's basically going to be trying to manipulate when things spawn, so he can use some, so he can boost and swing around on rings without dying or getting knocked off them.
I will say that jump he made onto the conveyor belt hooks, though, is not that easy. He made it look trivial.
Yeah, but then to make that ring that he just hopped onto, he has to spawn that armor at the right time, so it faces to the right, and then he has to, so he can get the boost off the stairs and have iframes to get past that bone dragon.
Joe on that last vertical ring. Just the manipulation there, you don't even notice that it's manipulated.
Yep, so here comes the mummy. We're hoping he spawns to the left or right. That'd be pretty good. For just spamming crosses, you want Makmadon to spawn on the left. If you use a technique where you whip and you hit your sub weapon 1 frame later, you can get a pretty consistent 1 cycle on the right hand side as well. Oh, I didn't see 2Cat die.
Did not either. I think TMR is now again the furthest up the tower.
Nice save. Nice save.
How did he hit that?
Basically, if you keep the limp whip out, you can kind of swing it around and it'll latch onto a ring.
That was a beautiful save. Somebody clip that nonsense.
Alright, Joe's fighting the star boss now. This room alone teaches you to have a light finger or light thumb on your jump button. Whenever you're on the ground and holding jump, Simon does not move. You'll see that used in one of the strats coming up. But basically, this game punishes you for just holding jump.
I think I've heard of that strat being used a lot on the Mummy as well, so you can kind of stand still and get diagonal whips in.
Oh yeah.
Without walking off the ledge.
Yep, and then you'll see them use it on the death fight coming up. And then,
Joe D'Amelio, just such a commanding lead right now.
oh yeah, he's had a pretty solid run. And Paul didn't get a good spawn from the mummy. For humans, it's basically GG as far as trying to get one cycle. So that was good handling of that. We'll see what kind of luck TMR gets. Gets the center as well.
Joe, meanwhile, is having a really good slogger fight here.
Oh yes, like the first phase of when you saw the trident is pretty consistent. There's a really small chance they'll do a dive from that, and then getting about halfway through, and he loses his trident. He has a high tendency to do these really quick dashes, and it's almost frame perfect to avoid them.
So this is Gabon?
Gabon.
That was Gabon?
Oh yeah, Joe has an amazing fight, just an amazing strat for that fight.
Gabon, even without that perfect cross strat, actually is probably the easiest of these 4 bosses in the endgame.
Yep, and then here comes Death. It's a really tough fight casually, and then they've got the stress of the crosses, and then perfect whip timing takes care of the scythe that really hurt a lot.
Gabon and Death, it's like get the crosses just in line, so they keep moving with it.
Yep, you saw Joe just throw a random cross when that screen scrolled into place. That was so he can that was simply a timing cross.
Joe doesn't need the super secret items.
So of course played extremely nice for 2Cat. Okay, so coming up on Joe's stream is a Dracula fight. So it basically his spawn locations run to a cycle of 4. The first 3 spawns are always random. The 4th one always spawns on top of Simon. Or at least it starts to spawn where Simon is.
And the attacks actually also depend on how much health Dracula has left. So to already see the flames here, Joe's doing short work will make just annihilating Drac.
Get him down to 5 bars left. He enters the 2nd phase. Well, the final stage where he'll just try to summon 4 lightning bolts on top of Simon. And I wasn't counting how many cycles he got. And GG for Joe. Time doesn't come until he grabs the orb.
Well, Paul is having a pretty good cabin fight. 2Cat, good death fight. TMR dealing with Trollga.
And this is time for Joe. 3301. That's a really solid marathon run.
It's 33. That low of a 33 in general, really good.
Pretty good death fight from Paul as well.
2Cat trying to hang on to this lead. I don't see him really losing it, but he does need to get some damage in.
Yep. Basically, the big hopes on the random spawns from Dracula is hoping he doesn't spawn too close to the edge or too close to the center. That way you can try to get... That way your crosses can hopefully hit him twice on each throw.
2Cat's through the final phase. Probably locking in 2nd over Furious Paul. TMR having actually a good death fight. Very nice.
Really nice fight.
And I do hate sometimes with 4 people on the screen. It's great that communities are huge. It just makes calling these races a little more interesting when you look back and somebody's not where you remember them being.
Oh yeah, and then that's just the nature of Castlevania 4. It's an extremely tough speed run.
Run is not over until you get that last orb.
Yeah, I've seen some of these runners die on the last phase of Dracula's.
1 straight lightning bolt. Those do a lot of damage too.
Oh yeah.
just TMR.
Okay,
Vampire Hunter.
2Cat with the 3432. Paul is gonna have a low 35. And a Triforce. GG, Paul. And TMR starting the final phase of Dracula.
Oh, Dracula escapes for one more cycle.
Probably only has one hit. Yeah,
Yep.
he only had one hit.
Yeah, it was the one hit. So GG to TMR as well. Just waiting for that orb to appear at this point.
What game doesn't TMR run? I'm not sure if I've ever seen him run Shovel Knight.
I would start by not looking at the NES library. And that's time. 35:48 I saw. I don't know if this timer's just not entirely synced with the video or not. So JC, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the weekly race for this game still on Sunday afternoons?
It's supposed to be.
That's a fair statement.
We still have it officially be that day. So if we just know, I mean, we'll probably have to find a better time for people. I mean, because there's always someone that around the same time as it is. It's 1 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. Looking to start the race, but then people are just busy. It happens.
And I know from last summer, I mean, this was the game I kind of looked at for Get Yourself Speedrunning and said, I want to learn this. And I mean, you know, I didn't put too much effort in, and I was starting to like feel this game out and actually start enjoying it. I mean, I play too many games and I'm mostly focused on Mega Man, but this was actually a lot of fun. So if anybody's looking to pick up a game in general, Castlevania 4 is not a bad choice at all.
Yeah, this is an extremely fun game. I mean, even with this as frustrating as it can get at times, it's extremely fun. It's really rewarding once you do a lot of practice, and then you start seeing yourself nail down some of these tough jumps, tough tricks fairly consistently. I will say is if you do want to pick up Castlevania 4, you probably want to focus on only that game. You do get the rest on it pretty quickly.
The more optimized the game is, it's like the more you just can't play anything else if you're going for a top time.
I mean, that's also true for a lot of other games, but I think especially for Castlevania 4, you basically need undivided attention for it.
See chat already kind of praising this music. This game really does have good music. The ending music is really good.
It has some great music, especially Stage 4. That's the best song ever. Best track ever.
I think Stage 2 was our intro music during the tournament itself.
Yeah.
Alright, so I think we are actually about to move along with SNES Superstars. So again, thanks to Joe D'Amelio, to 2Cat, the Mexican runner, and Furious Paul for the top runners of this game for a great race. Don't forget to follow the runners. We can't have these great marathons without them. And JC, thanks for jumping in and helping on commentary.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
You gather Rust playing the game. I gather Rust on commentary, not seeing this game in a while. And I believe next we have Tetris Attack. It's already up on the screen. Tetris Attack, a great puzzle game in this library, even if it's not panel to pawn anymore. So I guess I'll leave it to our fine hosts to take it away. Have a good evening, everybody.